the slay queen wife who married for money. The hot sun was shining over the busy city. The traffic was loud, people were moving fast, and the city was alive like it always was. But inside a small salon at the corner of the street, Vanessa was sitting in front of the mirror, looking at her reflection with a proud smile. She had long, shiny hair, beautiful lashes, smooth skin, and perfectly polished nails. She loved looking good. She loved attention. But more than anything else, Vanessa loved luxury. She was known in her neighborhood as the Slay Queen. She always wore expensive clothes, designer bags, and high heels. But the truth was, none of those things truly belonged to her. Most of them were borrowed, some were gifted, and others came from men she dated. She loved to live like a queen, even if her bank account had only a few thousand naira left. "Girl, you look fire," her friend Tasha said, snapping pictures with her phone. "When you enter that party tonight, all the men will fall for you." Vanessa smirked. "That's the plan, babe. I'm not wasting this beauty on broke boys." Tasha laughed loudly. "You and this your money talk. One day love will find you and you'll calm down." "Love!" Vanessa rolled her eyes. "Love doesn't pay bills. Love doesn't buy wigs. Love doesn't build houses. I need a rich man, not a romantic one." Tasha shook her head. She knew Vanessa too well. She had grown up in a poor home and hated poverty with everything in her. Vanessa's father left when she was 6, and her mother struggled to raise her and her 2 younger brothers. Poverty was her biggest fear, and she had promised herself she would never suffer like her mother. That night, Vanessa wore a gold body-hugging dress that sparkled under the light. Her long, straight hair fell down her back, and her lips shone with red gloss. She stepped out like a queen ready to conquer the world. The party was at a luxury hotel. Music was loud, people were dancing, drinks were flowing, and rich men in suits were everywhere. This was the kind of place she liked. She didn't come to dance. She came to hunt. Vanessa walked slowly through the crowd, acting like she didn't notice anyone, but in her mind, she was watching everyone. Then she saw him. Tall, handsome, well-dressed in a navy blue suit, gold wristwatch, elegant shoes. He carried himself like someone who was born with money. His name was Daniel, though Vanessa didn't know that yet. Daniel was the only son of a wealthy business owner. He was quiet, reserved, and didn't like loud parties. But tonight, he came because his friend was celebrating a birthday. He sat at a corner table, sipping a drink and scrolling through his phone. Vanessa fixed her eyes on him. That was her target, not the loud men throwing money around, but the quiet one with calm power. She walked to the bar, positioned herself near his table, and pretended to be looking at the menu. Within minutes, Daniel looked up. Their eyes met. Vanessa smiled softly, the kind of smile she had practiced many times in front of the mirror. Daniel raised his brows, then smiled back politely. "Hi," Vanessa said softly as if shy. "Hello," Daniel replied with a calm voice. "Are you alone?" she asked. "Yes. I don't really enjoy noisy places." She laughed lightly. "Me too. But my friend dragged me here." It was a lie, but she said it so smoothly that even she believed herself. Within minutes, their conversation flowed easily. Vanessa made him laugh. Daniel liked her confidence and beauty. She liked his gentle manner and the way his watch alone could pay her rent for a year. Later that night, Daniel offered to drop her off. She made a little show of refusing at first, pretending to be polite, then finally accepted. In the car, the silence between them was soft, not awkward. Daniel asked her about her life. She told him she was a fashion entrepreneur, which in truth was just a small online page where she reposted clothes from other sellers. Daniel spoke little about his family. He said he worked with his father in the family company. She didn't ask too many questions. She already knew enough to smell wealth. When he dropped her off, she smiled sweetly. "Thanks for the ride." He nodded. "I enjoyed talking to you." She flipped her hair, playing the shy card again. "Same here. Can I see you again?" Vanessa's heart jumped with excitement, but she kept her face calm. "Sure." She walked away from the car like a movie star, her heels clicking on the pavement. But when she entered her small rented apartment, she screamed excitedly. "This is it," she told Tasha over the phone. "I found him." Tasha sighed. "Be careful, Vanessa." "Careful for what?" I'm not here to fall in love. I'm here to secure my future." She was already imagining herself living in a big mansion, wearing designer clothes, and posting luxury pictures on social media. Daniel came from a different world. His father, Mr. Williams, was a respected business tycoon with real estate and logistics companies. His mother was a kind woman who believed in humility and good character. Daniel was their only son. He was smart, disciplined, and didn't like fake people. He had met many women who only wanted him for his money, and he hated that. He had promised himself to be careful. But Vanessa was different. She didn't act desperate. She looked classy, spoke softly, and didn't ask him for anything. She made him laugh. That was why, in just 2 weeks, they went on 3 dates. Dinner at a rooftop restaurant, a walk by the beach, a quiet evening at his favorite cafe. She played her role well. She pretended to be humble, hardworking, and sweet. She didn't talk about money. She acted like love was all she wanted. Daniel's heart slowly opened, and Vanessa's plan moved closer to success. The first time Vanessa met Daniel's mother, Mrs. Williams, was at a family lunch. Vanessa wore a simple white dress to look innocent and carried a soft smile the whole time. Mrs. Williams studied her carefully. She had met many girls, and she could smell fake smiles from a mile away. "So, Vanessa," she asked gently, "tell me about your family." Vanessa smiled. "I grew up with my mother. She worked very hard. She taught me to always aim high." That was partly true, but she avoided saying anything about her father or her real background. She changed the subject quickly. Mrs. Williams didn't push, but she watched how Vanessa's eyes wandered around the big house like someone already counting what she would own. She noticed how Vanessa looked at Daniel, not like someone in love, but like someone who just won a jackpot. Later that day, Mrs. Williams called Daniel aside. "She's beautiful, yes, but be careful, my son." Daniel frowned. "Why, Mom?" "I see something in her eyes. Something that worries me." Daniel smiled faintly. "Mom, don't judge her too fast. She's kind. She's not like the others." Mrs. Williams sighed. She loved her son, but she also knew how love could blind a man. As the weeks passed, Vanessa spent more time with Daniel. She loved the expensive restaurants, the gifts, the way people respected her when they saw her beside him. She started dressing even better, acting like she already belonged to the wealthy class. She also stopped picking calls from other men who used to sponsor her lifestyle. In her mind, Daniel was the golden ticket. She didn't need the others anymore. One night, after dinner, Daniel looked at her seriously. "Vanessa, can I trust you?" She blinked innocently. "Of course." He took a deep breath. "I've been hurt before. I've met women who only wanted me for my money. I want something real." Vanessa placed her hand on his. "Daniel, I'm not like them. I want you, not your money." Inside, she laughed at how easy it was. But outside, she wore a soft expression like a romantic heroine in a movie. 3 months later, Daniel shocked everyone, including his parents, by proposing to Vanessa. He did it at a private dinner, with candles, flowers, and a small crowd of friends. Vanessa almost screamed out of excitement when she saw the diamond ring. She jumped on him and hugged him tightly. "Yes, yes, I'll marry you." The cameras flashed, people clapped, and Tasha screamed when Vanessa sent her the video. Her plan was working perfectly. She was about to become Mrs. Williams. But while she was celebrating, Mrs. Williams was worried. She didn't trust Vanessa. But Daniel was deeply in love now, and he wouldn't listen. The wedding was like a fairy tale. A big church, expensive gown, white flowers everywhere. Vanessa walked down the aisle like a princess. People from her street couldn't believe their eyes. "The slay queen don make am," someone whispered. "She married a billionaire's son," another added. Vanessa's mother cried tears of joy. She had suffered a lot, and now her daughter was marrying into wealth. But Tasha stood quietly watching Vanessa. Something in her heart was worried. She knew Vanessa too well. She knew Vanessa wasn't marrying for love. The first week in the big mansion felt like heaven to Vanessa. She had servants, a walk-in closet, a chef, and a driver. She spent her days taking pictures, doing makeup, and enjoying soft life. Daniel tried to involve her in meaningful conversations about the future, charity, and family values, but she wasn't really interested. All she wanted was to live soft. "Vanessa," Daniel said one evening, What do you want to do with your time? Any projects, business ideas? She laughed lightly. Baby, I just want to relax and enjoy life. You're the businessman, not me. He smiled, but deep inside, something felt off. He wanted a partner, not a doll. Mrs. Williams watched from a distance. She noticed how Vanessa treated the house staff with pride, how she never helped with anything, and how she only cared about luxury. One afternoon, she invited Vanessa for lunch alone. How are you settling in? She asked. Vanessa smiled. Very well, Mummy. This house is so beautiful. Mrs. Williams looked at her kindly. Vanessa, marriage is more than living in a big house. It takes love, respect, and partnership. Vanessa forced a smile. Of course, Mummy. I love Daniel very much. But her voice didn't carry any depth. Mrs. Williams could feel it. 2 months later, Daniel had a small business meeting at home. Vanessa was upstairs doing makeup. He came to the room to ask if she could join him. He wanted to introduce her to some important people. But when he entered, she was doing a live video, showing off the house to her online followers. Hey guys, she said, smiling at the camera. This is our small living room. Can you imagine? Just small, oh. Daniel froze. She was showing the private areas of their home to strangers online. Vanessa, he whispered sharply. She turned around. What? What are you doing? Just a little live video. My fans love seeing my lifestyle. He took a deep breath. This is our home. You can't just show everything online. She rolled her eyes. Babe, relax. It's harmless. But to him, it wasn't. It was the first time he felt a cold distance between them. Over time, Vanessa started hanging out again with her old Slay Queen friends. They partied, traveled, and spent money carelessly. She loved the new attention she was getting as Madame Billionaire's wife. But she slowly stopped spending time with Daniel. He would come home tired from work, and she would be out taking pictures at a luxury restaurant. He wanted peace. She wanted attention. Their worlds were starting to clash. One evening, Tasha came to visit her at the mansion. She walked around, amazed at the luxury. Vanessa, this is mad, she said. You've really made it. Vanessa smiled proudly. I told you, girl. I was born for this life. But Tasha frowned. Be careful. Don't forget yourself. What do you mean? I mean this life can disappear fast. Don't play with a man's heart. Daniel loves you. Vanessa waved her hand carelessly. Please. I've suffered enough. It's my time to enjoy. But deep down, something inside her was starting to whisper that the soft life she loved might not last forever. Late at night, Daniel lay awake, staring at the ceiling. He loved Vanessa, but he was no longer sure she loved him back. She didn't ask how his day went. She didn't show interest in his world. She was only in love with the luxury. He sighed and turned to her. She was sleeping peacefully, with her wig on the dresser and her phone on live stream replay. He whispered to himself, Did I make a mistake? Vanessa had finally achieved what she always dreamed of, marrying into money. But beneath the beautiful dresses and perfect Instagram posts, cracks were already forming. Daniel was beginning to see the truth, and his mother had seen it from the start. The Slay Queen wife thought her plan was perfect, but the storm was coming. The mansion looked peaceful from the outside, but inside, something had shifted. Daniel woke up earlier than usual and quietly left the room. He went downstairs, sat at the dining table, and put his head in his hands. The man who once believed in love was slowly losing faith. Vanessa came down 2 hours later, wearing silk pajamas and holding her phone. She smiled at the camera as she recorded herself for another Good Morning vlog. She didn't even notice Daniel sitting there with a tired face. Good morning, babe, she finally said, not looking up from her phone. Morning, Daniel replied quietly. She poured herself a glass of juice and started eating without asking if he'd eaten. Daniel sighed. That used to be different in the early days of their relationship. She used to pretend to care. Now she didn't even try. Vanessa, he said slowly, we need to talk. She raised her brows, still scrolling through her phone. About what? About us. She laughed lightly, still not taking him seriously. Babe, don't start with your serious talk this morning. I'm not joking, he said, and his voice made her pause. I feel like you're more in love with this lifestyle than with me. Her smile disappeared. She put the phone down. Daniel, what are you talking about? You don't spend time with me anymore. You're always out, always online, always living for other people to see. We don't even talk." She crossed her arms. "So now it's a crime to enjoy my life? I'm not saying that. He took a deep breath. "I feel like I married a stranger." She scoffed. "Well, sorry I'm not the boring housewife type." That statement hit him like a slap. He didn't want her to be a housewife. He just wanted a partner. But she didn't get it. Or maybe she didn't care. Later that day, Mrs. Williams came over for lunch. She always tried to keep a polite relationship with Vanessa, even though she didn't trust her. When she entered the house, she noticed how Vanessa didn't greet her warmly. She was too busy posing for pictures near the staircase. "My daughter," Mrs. Williams said softly. "How are you?" Vanessa smiled faintly. "Good, Mum. You look beautiful today." "Thank you," Vanessa replied, flipping her hair proudly. Mrs. Williams sat at the table with Daniel and gave him a look that only mothers can give, the kind that says, "Something is wrong here." Daniel forced a smile. "How's Dad?" "He's fine. We're just worried about you." He frowned. "Worried?" Mrs. Williams lowered her voice. "You don't look happy, son." Daniel didn't respond. He didn't want to talk badly about his wife in front of his mother. But his silence was enough. Mrs. Williams understood. Vanessa was becoming more and more obsessed with the new world she lived in. Expensive clothes, fine dining, spa appointments, shopping trips to Dubai. Every picture she posted online got hundreds of likes, and she loved the attention. She didn't care that her marriage was slowly losing its soul. She started hanging out with some other rich wives, women who spent their husbands' money without thinking twice. One of them, Mandy, had been married for 6 years to a wealthy man. She drove a new car every year, but everyone in the city knew her marriage was empty. "Girl," Mandy said one afternoon at a fancy restaurant, "marriage is overrated. As long as the man pays the bills, live your life." Vanessa laughed and nodded. "Exactly. That's what I tell people." Mandy smirked. "Just don't fall in love. That's where women lose power." Vanessa smiled but didn't know that Mandy's words were slowly poisoning her more. She was learning to love money more deeply and care even less about her husband. One evening, Daniel came home early. He had a rough day at work and wanted to see his wife, to talk, maybe to feel a little peace. But when he entered the living room, it was empty. He called her. No answer. He checked her social media and saw a live video. She was at a party with Mandy and some other friends, dancing and drinking. He clenched his jaw and sat down alone on the couch. Hours later, she finally walked in, laughing with her heels in her hand. She smelled like perfume and champagne. "You're home early," she said casually. He stood up slowly. "Vanessa, where have you been?" "Party," she said, shrugging. "At least you could have called." She rolled her eyes. "Daniel, I'm not a child." He stared at her in silence. He had no words left. "You know what?" she added. "If you wanted a quiet wife who just stays home and cooks, you married the wrong woman." He walked past her without saying another word. That night, they slept on opposite sides of the bed. While Vanessa was living her rich life, someone from her past was about to return. His name was Kevin. He was her ex-boyfriend, one of the guys she dated when she was still hustling. Kevin was a street-smart guy who once helped her pay rent. But when she met Daniel, she dumped him without looking back. Kevin had seen her pictures online. He knew she was now married to a wealthy man, and he wanted a piece of that new life. One afternoon, while Vanessa was at a spa, she got a call from an unknown number. "Hello," she answered. "Vanessa," a familiar voice said. "Long time." Her heart skipped. "Kevin." "Ah, so you remember me. What do you want?" He laughed darkly. "Relax, baby. I just want to see you. We have unfinished business. There's nothing to talk about." "Oh, really?" he said softly. "Because I remember a lot of secrets, and I know your husband might be very interested in hearing them." Her stomach tightened. Kevin knew things about her, things Daniel didn't know. Things like how she once pretended to be a boutique owner while collecting money from men. How she once dated a married man for cash. How she wasn't as innocent as she made Daniel believe. Kevin's voice became more serious. "Meet me tomorrow at Green Bar. If you don't, I'll visit your house." The call ended, leaving Vanessa frozen. The next day, she told Daniel she was going to meet a friend from school. But in truth, she went to Green Bar. Kevin was already there, wearing a cheap leather jacket with a dangerous grin on his face. He leaned back in his chair like someone who knew he had power. "You've really changed," he said. "Madam Billionaire's wife." "What do you want, Kevin?" He stirred his drink slowly. "Money. I've been broke. You're rich now. It's only fair. I can't give you anything." He laughed. "You will. Because if I talk, your perfect husband will know everything." Vanessa's hands began to shake. "How much?" 5 million naira. She gasped. "What?" "You heard me. 5 million. And don't try to play smart. I know your house. I know your story." She left the bar trembling. She didn't have that kind of money. She only had small cash Daniel gave her monthly. But Kevin wasn't bluffing. He was dangerous. And if Daniel found out about her past, everything could collapse. Mrs. Williams noticed Vanessa had become quieter lately. But it wasn't humility, it was fear. She also noticed strange phone calls, and Vanessa sneaking out sometimes. One morning, Mrs. Williams told Daniel, "Son, something is not right." Daniel sighed. "Mom, please. I know you love her, but love is not blind. Open your eyes." Daniel wanted to argue, but his heart already felt uneasy. He had been ignoring signs for months. One evening, Daniel asked her, "Where were you this afternoon?" She stammered, "With Tasha." "Really?" he said calmly. "Because Tasha called me earlier to ask where you were." She froze. Daniel crossed his arms. "Why are you lying to me, Vanessa?" She forced a smile. "Babe, it's nothing. I just went to see an old friend." "Old friend?" "Yes. It's nothing serious." But Daniel saw something in her eyes he had never seen before, fear. It made him even more suspicious. Kevin didn't stop. He started texting her every day. "Tick-tock, Vanessa. 5 million. Or I talk. Your husband deserves the truth." She tried blocking him. He showed up at one of her favorite spots and threatened her again. She panicked. She didn't want to lose everything. She didn't love Daniel, but she loved the life his name gave her. She decided to take some money secretly from the house. But Daniel was too smart. Every major expense was monitored. She couldn't get 5 million easily. One night, Daniel sat alone in his car, parked outside the mansion. He didn't want to go inside. He remembered how happy he felt when he proposed, how much he believed Vanessa was different. But now, everything felt like a mistake. He looked at the house lights and whispered, "God, what did I do?" A week later, Daniel finally confronted her properly. "Vanessa," he said at dinner, "are you hiding something from me?" She froze. "No." "Then why have you been lying about where you go? Who is this friend you keep seeing?" She stood up. "Daniel, I don't like being interrogated. This is an interrogation. This is marriage. If you can't be honest with me, then what are we doing?" She snapped. "Fine. Maybe I just need some space." He stared at her, speechless. "Space? We're married, Vanessa." "Yeah, and maybe that was a mistake," she said before walking out of the dining room. Daniel sat there alone, his chest heavy. Those words cut him deep. Kevin got tired of waiting. One evening, while Daniel was at work, Kevin appeared at the mansion gate. The security guard called Vanessa nervously. "Madam, someone is asking for you." She rushed down and saw Kevin leaning against the wall, smiling like a devil. "What are you doing here?" she hissed. "I told you I'd come," he said softly. "I'm not joking. Pay me or I talk." "Please, not here." He laughed. "Then find the money." She pushed him away and ran back inside, shaking. But she didn't know Mrs. Williams had seen the whole thing from the upstairs balcony. That night, Mrs. Williams went to her son. "Daniel," she said quietly, "I saw a man outside this evening. He came to see Vanessa. It didn't look innocent." Daniel's heart stopped. "What man?" "I don't know. But she looked scared." Daniel didn't sleep that night. His mind was full of questions. He started connecting dots. The lies, the fear, the distance. One afternoon, Daniel ran into Tasha at a coffee shop. He greeted her politely, but Tasha looked uncomfortable. "Is everything okay?" Daniel asked. She hesitated. "Daniel, I don't want to get involved." "But Vanessa, she's not who you think she is." Daniel stared at her. "What do you mean?" "She has a past," Tasha whispered. "Before you met her." And I think someone from that past is back. Daniel's stomach turned. He thanked Tasha and left quietly. He felt like the ground under him was shaking. That night, Vanessa was in the bathroom, crying silently. She had built her whole life on lies and appearance. And now everything was falling apart. Kevin wasn't stopping. Daniel was starting to ask questions. Mrs. Williams had seen too much. She whispered to herself in the mirror, "I can't lose this life." She picked up her phone and texted Kevin, "I'll get the money. Just give me time." But she didn't know Daniel was watching her through the half-open door. Vanessa's perfect world is beginning to crack. Daniel now knows something is wrong. Kevin is pushing harder, and Vanessa's lies are piling up like firewood waiting for a match. The house was quiet that night. Too quiet. The kind of silence that made every heartbeat sound louder. Vanessa sat on the edge of the bed, scrolling through her phone with trembling hands. She had just sent Kevin another message, begging for more time. But Kevin didn't care about begging. He wanted money. Daniel stood in the doorway, watching her. She didn't notice him at first. She was too busy wiping her tears. "Who are you texting?" he asked softly. She jumped, quickly locking her phone. "Daniel, you scared me." He didn't move. "I saw the message." Her heart stopped. What message?" "The one you sent to Kevin," he said calmly, but his voice carried a sharp edge. "Who is Kevin, Vanessa?" She froze like a thief caught in the act. I can explain." "Then explain." She opened her mouth, but no sound came out. Her lies had finally run out of space. Daniel stepped closer. His face was calm, but his eyes were cold. "How long have you been lying to me?" Vanessa shook her head. "I wasn't lying. Vanessa!" he snapped, and she flinched. "Do you know what hurts the most? It's not even the lie. It's that I trusted you with everything. And you played me like a fool." Tears rushed down her cheeks. "Daniel, please. It's not what you think." "Then what is it? Who is this Kevin? Why are you texting him behind my back? Why did you lie about where you've been?" She broke down. "He's my ex. From before I met you. He's blackmailing me. He knows things about my past. Things I never told you." Daniel let out a bitter laugh. "Of course. The past. The past you pretended didn't exist." Vanessa sat on the floor, her knees weak. "Daniel, please listen to me. When I met you, I was just a girl trying to survive. I did things I'm not proud of. Kevin helped me once, but then I left him when I met you. He's angry and wants money." Daniel crossed his arms. "What things, Vanessa?" She looked away. "I used to lie to men, pretend I was a boutique owner, take their money. I dated married men for cash. I never thought I'd find someone like you. I thought if I acted perfect, you'd never know." Daniel stared at her like she was a stranger. In a way, she was. "You married me not because you loved me," he said slowly. "You married me because I had money." She covered her face. "Daniel, at first, yes. But I swear I grew to care about you. I just didn't know how to love you right." Daniel turned away, his hands clenched. "You used me, Vanessa. My house. My name. My heart." The next day, Kevin didn't wait anymore. He showed up at Daniel's company, pretending to be a delivery man. But instead of flowers or a package, he handed the secretary a brown envelope with pictures inside. Pictures of Vanessa and him from her past, proof of her lies. The pictures landed on Daniel's desk an hour later. Old videos, secret chats, everything Kevin had kept as insurance. Daniel stared at the envelope for a long time. Every photo felt like a knife. Every word felt like a betrayal. He called Vanessa. "Come to my office. Now." Vanessa arrived wearing sunglasses, trying to look calm, but inside she was shaking. Daniel placed the brown envelope in front of her. "Open it," he said flatly. She opened it slowly. Her hands shook as she saw the photos and messages. She knew exactly where they came from. "Daniel, I can explain." "No," he cut her off sharply. "No more explanations. No more lies. This is who you really are, isn't it?" She sobbed. "Please, I was young. I was stupid. I thought I could bury it and start fresh with you." He slammed his fist on the desk. "You built this marriage on lies, Vanessa. You never loved me. You loved the money. You loved the life. You loved the cameras. But not me." She fell to her knees. "Daniel, please don't leave me. I'll change. I'll do anything." But Daniel looked down at her, and his eyes had no softness left. It's too late. That evening, Kevin posted some of the pictures online to pressure her for money. Within minutes, blogs picked it up. "Billionaire's wife exposed," the headline screamed. Videos spread. People mocked her. Brands cut ties with her. The same people who used to adore her online now called her a fraud. Daniel's phone wouldn't stop ringing. His PR team begged him to release a statement. The scandal was everywhere. Vanessa locked herself in the bathroom at home, crying as notifications poured in. Her glamorous life was crashing like glass on concrete. Mrs. Williams came to the mansion the next morning. She didn't yell. She didn't insult Vanessa. She just looked at her with disappointment that hurt more than any word. "My dear," she said quietly, "money can give you a house, but it cannot build a home. You built your house on sand. Now the wind has come." Vanessa sobbed. "Mom, please. I warned my son, but love made him blind. I hope this pain opens his eyes." Daniel came downstairs with a small suitcase. Vanessa ran to him and grabbed his arm. "Please, Daniel, don't leave me." He looked at her one last time. "You already lost me the day you chose money over truth." Then he walked out of the house. Days turned into weeks. The scandal destroyed Vanessa's image. Brands she worked with deleted her photos. Former friends unfollowed her. She moved out of the mansion after the divorce papers were served. Her new apartment was small and noisy. She had no maid, no designer clothes, no bodyguards. She had to cook for herself for the first time in years. Lisa, her friend, visited one evening. "I told you, Vanessa," she said gently. "All that glitters is not gold. You chased money but lost something real." Vanessa wiped her eyes. "I thought money was everything." Lisa sighed. "It's not." Daniel focused on his work and stayed silent about the scandal. People respected him for not dragging the matter in public. He spent more time at the orphanage where he grew up, reconnecting with who he was before the fame. One Sunday morning, he met a young woman named Grace. She was a volunteer teacher. She had a warm smile, no makeup, no show-off. She talked to him like a human being, not like a billionaire. For the first time in a long time, Daniel felt peace. Vanessa struggled to survive, but something changed in her. She stopped living online and started living in reality. She got a job at a small cafe, wiping tables and serving food. People recognized her sometimes and whispered, but she ignored them. One day, a little girl at the cafe smiled at her and said, "You look tired, Auntie, but your eyes are kind." That small sentence broke her walls. Vanessa decided to build her life again, this time without lies. She enrolled in a makeup class, learned a skill, and opened a small beauty shop months later. It wasn't glamorous, but it was honest. For the first time, she earned something she didn't have to fake. A year later, Daniel married Grace in a small, peaceful garden ceremony. No social media drama, no camera flashes, just love, real love. Vanessa heard about the wedding from Lisa. She stared at the photos quietly. Grace looked beautiful. Daniel looked happy, the kind of happy she could never give him. For a moment, she felt pain. But it wasn't jealousy. It was regret. She whispered to herself, "He found real love, and I lost it when I was chasing money." She put down her phone, looked around her small but peaceful shop, and smiled faintly. She had fallen, but she had also changed. One evening, Vanessa walked down the street alone. She passed by a group of young girls taking pictures with designer bags, showing off for the camera. She paused, smiled sadly, and walked on. She no longer needed to fake a life. She was building one now, brick by brick, truth by truth. Sparkle's moral lessons from Vanessa's story. Real love cannot be bought. Money may build a house, but only truth builds a home. A lie can give temporary comfort, but destroys everything in the end. Falling is not the end. It can be the beginning of change.
Every story has a heartbeat. Some inspire, some haunt, and some remind us who we are. This was another tale from Viral Tales, is where African roots meet global voices. If this story moved you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, because your next favorite story is just one click away.